Welcome to Reclaim Treasures. This is Connie with another couple of small projects. Project number 1. I got this small jewelry box. It's a vintage one in great condition from the Goodwill. And it had a place for photographs and stuff. I took that off. And I had some stains on where you put the rings. I painted that, and I'm going to attach another video where I did the same so you can see it. I went to dollar store and I got me a round wood board because I needed a very thin material to put in that place where the photograph was. I got it in size with my jigsaw, and I'm going to use one of those two papers. At the time, I was not sure which one I wanted, but I end up using the Eagle. Because I had to print them with my inkjet printer, I sprayed them with 2 coats of clear Rust-Oleum spray, so that way I can avoid bleeding. I took everything apart, so it'd be easier on me to sand and paint without messing up the hardware. And I washed it off camera, and I start scuff sanding and wiping the dust off with a wet wipe. After I shellacked, I put a coat of fluff by Dixie Belle. And I dried with my hair dryer. Then I used the Redesign with Prima's decoupage gel. I started on one side, put it halfway down, and I did the other side as well. And I put 2 more coats on top of that. And of course dry between. I used my squeegee there on top of plastic, so I can squeeze every bubble that was or a wrinkle, and then I used my sandpaper to cut it to size. The image was smaller than my frame, so I decided to blend some paint with the image. I took Java by Folk Art, and I painted the white part of that picture. While still wet, I took Caviar by Dixie Belle, and I start blending that into the brown. You can see the difference now, but when I'm done with everything, you won't be able to notice it. It will also be covered. While that was drying, I took Amazing Resin in black, and I used equal parts of part A and part B to create the castings. I wanted to create as many gears as possible so I can put them around the image. I'm not sure what I'm going to use yet, so I made enough. I created enough of them, and now I'm going to paint everything. I'm using quite a few gilding waxes. I'm not sure which ones I will use, which colors I would like best, but after a couple tries, I decided in 3 different gilding waxes, actually 4 different with the gold here and there. For the most part, I used aged brass, Lucky Emerald, Dixie Belle's gold, and I believe it was copper. But I will post all of them down below so you can see which ones I used. For the box, I used Dixie Belle's Coffee Bean, which is a very dark brown color, very rich, chocolatey. I really like it very much. And I used it in my next project as well. Goes on really smooth. and it's got a great coverage. For the ones that don't know, I do sell Dixie Belle in my booth. I don't ship yet, but if you're local in the Greenwood area, Greenwood, South Carolina, you are more than welcome to stop by and check me out. I put 2 coats of that beautiful color. Very beautiful, moody color for the fall and winter. I hope you guys try it in one of your projects and let me know how you like it. After the second coat was dry, I gave it 3 coats of Dixie Belle's clear coat. And in the end, I will use polyacrylic on top of it as well, because I wanted to give it a little more shine. Because Dixie Belle's clear coat is more matte than I wanted. The picture had that very glossy finish, and I wanted to give it a little more shine for the rest of the box, so it doesn't have much of a contrast. For the inside of the wood board, I gave it 2 coats of that Dixie Belle's coffee bean, and I also created some texturized paint. I used the same color with some baking soda, and I made a lightly thicker paint, and I just tap it so I can give it a little texture. You've seen me use it without the baking soda, and you can make it as thick to give as much texture as you want. I'm sanding everything, all the, if there is any bumps or whatever, with my sanding sponge. Make it smooth. And I also start lightly distressing with that all the way around. I did the corners a little bit in between. I also use my little sander. And I continue distressing until I was happy with the results. Now I'm going to use the fine line crackling now by Pentart to do a cracking effect on the picture. And by doing that, I'm covering the imperfection or the difference in the color between where I painted and the rest of the picture, because it's going to blend that right in. I'm using the component 1. It comes in 2 different bottles, 1 and 2. You use the 1 first, let it dry, and be kind of lightly tacky to the touch, and then you put the component 2. You can paint the first one every way you want to, but on the second one you have to lay it thinner and in one direction, you can say. Don't go over it more than once or twice. It needs to be smooth, and that way the cracking will have a beautiful pattern. Once it gets dry, you're going to see some cracking forming. If you need more cracking, or if the cracking has not formed, you can use your hair dryer to force it. And I did that after it was dry as well, and it cracked even more. Now I'm going with Pentart's antiquing paste, and this one is the antique gold. I didn't know which one I was going to use. I'm not going to use the gold one. I needed to have the same coloring as the picture. You can use your finger, you can use a little paper towel, just rub it all over until it gets into all these grooves, and then wipe off the excess. And here it is, all this beautiful cracking. When that dries, it is time to seal everything with a clear varnish. This time I used gloss. And this is how it looks with the frame on. I love the moody colors. Reminds me of fall, winter. And I start working on some small things for fall and winter, still too hot. I'm gonna use the Gorilla Glue. This is the first time I'm using this glue. I think this is a newer one. Anyways, I'm gonna use it all the way around in the frame to glue that wood board on it, because it is a slightly thicker than the gap of my frame, so I cannot use my picture framing gun, so I have to glue it on. And I'm gonna use a few clamps to hold it down until it dries. When it's dry and secured, I'm gonna start installing all these gears all over it. I had previously arranged them the way I want. I took a picture and I printed. That way I know for sure where I'm putting each and every one of the gear. I will put them down like I have in the picture, and I will start taking each and every one off and use the glue behind them and push them down until they are secured. This glue, it's supposed to dry, or it's tacky enough to hold an item within 10 to 15 seconds. That's why I chose it. I also did a little touch up with that aged brass and the green wax in areas where I touched with my fingers and the glue and kind of rubbed it off. After everything was dry, I'm gonna put that leather string on the back side so you don't see that ugly gap between the frame and the board. I want to cover that, and I'm going to use the same glue like before. Pushing it for a few minutes until it's secured, and wiping the extra glue with a wet towel. I really like that glue. It really dries fast, or at least it gets hold of the material pretty fast. It can be very handy. I will post information on everything that I used down below. Now it's time to put everything back together. I'm using my precision screwdriver for that. Very handy little tool and very inexpensive. Perfect for small projects like jewelry boxes that have tiny screws. I also decided to put to add some feet to elevate it a little bit. And this is the more manly that I could find in my selection. I always like to buy a few different styles because you never know when you're going to use them. They are very inexpensive, so buy a few and have them around. And here it is in all its glory. I hope you guys like this project. I really love the steampunk look. I think it turned out pretty good. What do you guys think? Off camera, I added a few gear on the inside as well. I think it suits this piece very well. Give me your opinion on this. Do you like the steampunk look? Would you care to create a piece like this? For the second project today, I chose to do a tray that I had bought. Actually, it was two, exactly the same ones. I took off the legs and the mechanism there, and I washed it with Dawn soap and warm water. I unscrewed it, both legs and the middle part. And I also put a couple coats of shellac after I cleaned it. I filled the holes from the screws, And I'm trying to find, this is the decoupage paper I'm going to use, and I'm going to try to find an image from the new release of IOD Stag Tavern. That's a beautiful book, actually, beautiful images. I love the coloring. These are my favorite colors. I'm in between the deer and the moose, but I think I'm going to go with the deer this time. So after the shellac was dry, I lightly sanded any high spots, and I buffed it with that sanding sponge. Now I'm taking Dixie Belle's Bonding Boss, and I'm going to put a couple coats on it. I don't want to have, I don't want any chance that any of these reddish colors would show through. So Bonding Boss would take care of that. That's an extra protection besides the shellac that I put previously. And also you need a light color under your decoupage paper. You want the colors to look nice and bright, not muddy and dark. As a primary color, I'm going to use the same Dixie Belle's Coffee Bean. And I did the backside here, a couple coats. As my decoupage paper, I chose Roy Cycles. This is from last year's Christmas release. I bought it and I never used it, so I think it would look perfect for what I want to do here. I'm going to use this side. I'm going to cut it to size and decoupage it on it. I use my little steamer to get rid of all the wrinkles. And I'm using Redesign with Prima decoupage gel. I should have used polyacrylic, but I didn't think about it until later. It's a thinner material, so polyacrylic would do just fine. I'm going to putting the gel down 1 to 2 inches at a time and work myself from that point on using my squeegee or the cellophane ball or my hand inside that little plastic bag to smooth any wrinkles or push out any air bubbles. And work yourself slowly. Don't rush the process. I should have used polyacrylic if I thought about it, because this one was a more dense gel, and I had a couple tiny tears, but all went good. In the end, they were covered, and I'll show you a way. At least with the plaid, is easier to replace tears. Use your squeegee to push out all extra material. And I used my bag just to smooth everything, all the wrinkles if I had any. I don't believe I had any, but I had a couple small tears because the material got too soaking wet. And I speeded up the process with my hair dryer. I had, like I said, a couple tiny tears, and I didn't like the way I tried to blend it with paint, so I'm putting the extra paper that I had on top, and I cut a small portion of it, and I will decoupage that on top of it. My material, of course, is very thin, is that very thin decoupage paper, so it blends in really well. I'm aligning there the lines, and I will put the decoupage glue underneath and of course on top, and I will put the decoupage glue a couple times all over my tray as well, so there's no way that will show or come up in the future. And of course dry everything right after. That tray had a gap all the way around, and I wanted to cover that. I wanted to look more expensive. So I decided to go with trimmings 3 by IOD and put a trim all the way around. I made quite a few of them, and I believe I used 8 out of the 9 of those trimmings. I used Type Bond Quick and Thick to glue them on, and tape to secure them until they were dry. And I let them dry overnight. The next day, I start putting the image down from that deer. You've seen me putting transfers before. All you do is use that stick that they come with, and you rub and you lift and you rub and you lift. If a piece of that transfer is still on the vellum, then you put it back down and you rub it again until all is transferred. And the image was a little smaller than I wanted, so I really wanted to add a few more things to fill up the tray a little bit better. This is the magic and flexibility of the transfers. You can cut and paste from any other transfers in the book, whatever images you like. You can add them or take out whatever you don't like. So I found another transfer there, and I'm going to separate it in a few things. I want to put the name down below and the date, and I'm going to use the corners, one for each corner of my tray. As you can see, I even cut the way the leaves were on that transfer, and I rearranged them the way I wanted them. I found the center, I laid my transfer down, and I'm gonna transfer it like I've done many times before. And I will add those small leaf branches on each side. On the right side, that little branch had some berries, so I found similar berries from a different transfer. I cut it and I added to the left side. The reason you shouldn't throw away even the small pieces. Now I'm gonna do my corners, and I'm trimming them as close as possible so they can be as close to the corner as possible. And again, I'm gonna add small branches on each side of each corner, as you're gonna see in a minute. I want my design to expand as much as possible without becoming tacky. I want these corners to look like they were meant to be this way. And I'll keep going until all four corners are done. I also added a few flowers in that wreath around the deer and some more extra leaves to make it more fuller on the left side. Now my trimming was dry, and I had a few small cracks in the connections. So what I'm doing, I'm putting a little bit of water in the crack, and I'm adding more clay, and I smooth it out. So really you won't be able to see the filler. And I start painting everything with the same color like the tray. After everything was dry, I put polyacrylic, 2 coats, all over the tray. The decoupage gel was fine, but it was matte. I wanted to have a little shine and a little more durability. So the polyacrylic is more satin and brings out the colors much better than any flat clear coat. So I decided to put a couple more coats of polyacrylic on top. And it is a tray after all. It will be used, water will be spilled, and I don't want any chance of that water seeping through to the paper down below. So the more protection, the better. For the trim, I wanted to use a white wax. But I don't want it to be white. I want it to be the same color like on the paper. So I made my own custom with Waverly clear wax and Dixie Belle's drop cloth. I mixed them in a different container, and I will apply with a brush. Just make sure the wax goes down to all the grooves, and I'm wiping back any excess. I want it to stay in the lower parts of the leaves down there, and as you wipe off the excess, it kind of accentuates the leaves. You can see them much better. And if I want to wipe more, I mist my paper with a little bit of water and I wipe even more. Now I want to create some shadowing all the way around. First, to kind of smooth out the transition between the paper and the wood, So I'm going to use Dixie Belle's Dirt. And to use that, you have to put a little bit of wax down below so it can stick on it. So I'm going to put wax all the way around, put the dirt, or as much as I want, and then wipe off the excess. That way I can give a bit of shadow on the corners and also another dimension. Now, because of this being a tray and will be used as one, I don't want the dirt to be wiped off the first time they're going to clean that tray. So I'm going to put Dixie Belle's top coat on top of that. I'm also going to use another 2 coats, I believe, on top. If I had thought about it before I put the polyacrylic, I would have done that first, but that's okay. Like I said, the more protection, the better. I'm putting shadows just about everywhere that I want to, around the deer, underneath. And gives it another, you can say third dimension. I'm also sanding and creating a little distressing there at the edges where the handle is, around the corners and everywhere else. And here you can see the shadow that Dixie Dirt creates. I really like that. But if you don't, to each his own. You don't have to do that. You can do what you like, add what you like, and make it your own. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for spending time with me. Please let me know which one was your favorite project. Did you like the tray or you like the jewelry box? Again, I appreciate your support. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. That way, you can help my little channel grow. Thank you again, and until next time, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.